Hello and welcome. We have author Ryan Habermeyer. How are you doing tonight?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ryan, tell us about you. Tell us about your latest book that you have out.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of writers probably have, I don't know if they have an easy time describing their books. For me, it's a little tricky because I'm tending to juggle quite a few things in this one. But the basic gist of the book, and to give maybe a little bit of background to it as well, I'm a really big Don Quixote fan. I absolutely love the book. I love the story. I love the character.
Okay.
And I really wanted, since I was, starting to write seriously, I really wanted to do a kind of Quixote-esque story. And I happen to love 1950s, the campy, crappy sci-fi movies. And so
Yeah.
I had this idea for a kid who happens to wear, like, he has this cosmonaut helmet on his head and nobody in town really knows like why it's on there. But anyways, he loves these old crappy campy sci-fi movies and he watches too many of them, and like Don Quixote, he sort of breaks his brain a little bit and decides that he is an alien and he's going to go build a catapult out in the middle of the desert and launch himself into outer space. And so that's like the basic thread of the story that's going
Okay.
through.
That sounds
But
pretty out there.
yeah, it is. It is a wild one. And it took me a long time to write the book because the idea was kind of wild. But also formalistically, it's rather experimental. It's written in the form of 95 obituaries. So you kind of move through the story of this town and you get like one person in the town through all these obituaries, but all of them come in contact with like this boy. So you kind of get like this fragmented story of the boy and what he's doing, but at the same time, it's this sort of
Okay.
pandemic.
So they kind of tie together.
Yeah, absolutely. So you
Okay.
get like the main arc, but then you get like little vignettes and pieces as well.
Okay. Um, So, is there a productive time of day? I know this book you said took you what 17 years to write and finish.
Yeah.
Throughout that time period, is there a time of day that you picked that you wrote most of it, or not really?
Yeah, not really. Like I'm bad in terms of like getting structured time for writing. I do writing every day, but I'm not like a big not that I'm not a big believer in doing that. I think you got to find what works for you, and that's going to
Yeah,
change
absolutely.
depending on life circumstances too. Like I used to, like before kids, before I got married, like I had that structured built-in time, and then life sort of creeps in, right, and sort of
Yep,
takes over those kinds
exactly.
of structures. So now I just sort of find time to write every day. And writing for me every day can just be thinking about something. It could be jotting down some notes. It could be actually drafting, reworking, revising, whatever it is. So I don't have like a set time, like a set schedule, but I certainly make time out of every day in circumstances whenever I can, to do some sort of writing every day.
Okay. Yeah, mine is between 2 and 5. That's when my toddler naps, and that's just when my brain is like, it's like the activate button is
Yeah.
hit, and I'm just kind of programmed to think at that time. So I'm
Yeah.
always curious that other authors are the same, or some people say they write in the middle of the night, and that's their
Uh-huh.
time to be left alone. So
And I mean, I used to be like a big night owl. I used to stay up late, and that's when I
yeah,
would do my writing. I'd get a lot of my writing done between like 11 and 1 a.m. Like that just used to be the block.
yeah,
But then I got old and I had different life circumstances and I couldn't do that anymore.
yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
Um, so is there anything that you're listening to in the background, other than like your family? Is there any music or anything that you're listening to when you're writing?
I wish that I have writer friends that always talk about listening to music and how
Mhm.
it, just helps them get into the flow and like move along. If I'm listening to something in the background, I can't concentrate that well. Like I kind
Okay.
of need a lot of silence, and just to sort of stew in my own thoughts. So music for me is not like in the moment of writing, but I do listen to a lot of music to prime me for writing, like to get into
Okay.
the mood, to get into like the ambiance for it, like to try to capture a vibe for a scene or for whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. I
So I'll
kind of
listen.
do that too, headphones on and
Yeah,
listen to it before it's time to go
right.
write. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
because otherwise I'm going to be sitting there wanting to enjoy the music and wanting to listen to the music and wanting to
Yes.
sort of get into it, like
Big
analyze it almost.
distraction. Yep.
Yeah, so it becomes a kind of distraction. But I mean, I like I said, I wish I was like some of my friends who, it seems like a natural fit. But for me, it's just I listen to stuff beforehand
Yeah. Well,
rather than
that's how
in the
you
moment.
produce your work is in silence. That's whatever your style is. I like hearing other authors' styles. So in your work, Necronauts, is there a particular scene that you are most proud of?
Um, I've been asked this question before about my writing in general, like, oh, like what are you most pleased with, or like what are you
Mhm.
happiest with? And I'm the kind of writer where after I get it on, like I'm never satisfied with anything. And if I read it after like it's gone off into the world, I start to have like a lot of regrets about it. Like
Okay.
start thinking about it too much. Like, oh no, like if you were to point out a scene to me in the book right now, I would probably tell you, let me say like all the things that are wrong with that scene as opposed to being like, this is what I'm happy with. So
Yeah.
I get like really self-critical about it. There is a scene in there though, and this kind of there's a scene in there where I talk about there's this factory in the town and it
Mhm.
produces toilet paper, and there's like a weird Karl Marx connection to it that I thought was kind of funny.
Okay.
That might be a scene that I would be pleased with. So
Okay. Speaking of other authors, who would you want to read this book that you would be excited for them to read it or you think they'd enjoy it?
well, probably, I mean, I'd be interested in Karl Marx reading that
Yeah,
particular
right.
scene.
I mean, anyone famous, a celebrity, but
Yeah.
yes, he's a good example. Okay.
I mean, I think Marx would kind of be weirded out by the idea that I describe in the book about a toilet paper factory that runs like a
He might
reenactment
think it's
of
funny.
him. Yeah, like this sort of comical, satirical thing. Like that'd be funny. I think I would enjoy if some of my favorite writers were to read it. I'd be curious for their reactions. I'm a big I like satire, I like fabulism, so someone like Kafka or maybe Nabokov, that's aiming pretty high in the stars there for people that I'd like to read it. But
Right.
yeah, I'd be
Maybe one day.
curious. Yeah, why not aim high, right? I'd be curious to see the look on their faces.
Yeah. Um, is there a surprise ending or an ending that took you a long time to write
Um,
without giving away any spoilers?
yeah. Um, I don't think the ending was so much a surprise for me. I won't tell you whether or not the
Right.
boy finishes the catapult and whether he launches himself. I think the surprise for me was some of the turns along the way, like in the middle,
Okay.
um, of like ways in which the story started to be about things that I hadn't anticipated it being about before. Like some of halfway through, I started seeing more clearly some of like the thematic material that I didn't expect, like in particular, the notion of I'm trying to think like how to phrase this, like feeling like you were born in the wrong time and in the wrong place, but
Okay.
still finding like found family as opposed to the family you're born into. Like that was something that sort of took me by surprise. I didn't think when I first sat down to write this book that that's where it was going to go. So not so much the ending, but like the twists and turns in the middle.
Okay. Well, it sounds very intriguing. I'm sure the readers of Seven Story Publishings would love to hear about it. We will post that information that has how to find your book, Necronauts. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.